Well, game one went the way of Fnatic. EG, though, bounced back and hit hard in game two. One common thread, that's that Treant Protector. We see picked up 3 games in a row as EG looks to close this one out, as does Fnatic. Fnatic leading off with the Naga Siren here in game 3 of our first best-of-3 series here in the Sunday edition of the D2L Western Challenge. Could be a long one, so settle in, grab a lunch, grab a beer, and get ready for more Dota. I'm your host, Aaron AC Chambers, joined by Trouf once again for the insight and analysis. And at what point do you begin to consider ban the tree as a legitimate way to approach?
I think it's totally fine to ban tree in the first 2, against especially EG. I mean, they're obviously comfortable in playing it. They have a very high success rate. But what's the problem in banning it? Instead, as we see here, they first banned out the Darkseer. So I know there are some people. I read one thing in chat, as I try not to read too much in chat, but I read one thing that was like, Universe was only playing that way because he saw the Venomancer mid. Okay, that's a good point. Yes, that's true. But the thing is don't give him that opportunity.
Right.
They could have just, if they just sat there on him, Universe has 2 options. One, sit there and continue to Iron Shell and be level 1 for the first 6 minutes, and just Iron Shell from far away to like maybe get a few last hits and screw with Air's farm, or just go straight to the jungle. And once you've done one of those, you've still at least accomplished something. I feel with No-Tail being mid, even though yes he played a certain way because he saw him mid, he wouldn't have been given that opportunity if No-Tail just was bottom and shut him down. So instead of addressing the problem, Fnatic says, hey, screw it, let's just ban it out. Universe plays it. Aside from that fact, Universe plays it so well that it does perhaps warrant a ban over the tree. But yes, as far as answering your question, I think it's still okay to ban the tree first 2. It is difficult in this patch right now because there are heroes like, Lycanthropy, the Ember Spirit, Naga Siren, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much you want to deal with, especially against a team like Fnatic, who, again, I mean, they value the same heroes most teams do. They know the capabilities of any hero in a given patch or given metagame, but they also do what they do. They're excellent at running multi-core lineups. They're excellent, if not the best in the world, at running IO combinations. So you have to account for that. You have to account you don't really account for it because you still consider it a pocket pick, but they can even just say, oh, okay, you know what? This is kind of a wonky draft. Maybe we're not happy with it. Screw it. We're just going to pick Meepo and let No-Tail go ham. Like, that's just who they are and what they do. So, there are just a handful of teams that are always so difficult to ban against because they have such a deep hero pool. They have so many ways they can make their lineup work, and they can even rotate players like No-Tail from a support all the way to a 1 or a 2 position, depending on how they want to run it. So EG, I think, is taking the right approach throughout this whole series. They've picked what they've wanted and just said, you know what, we'll obviously react to things we need whenever we see a Slark pick or what have you. They didn't do so quite as well as they would have liked in game 1. That's why they lost. But in game 2, they didn't deviate too much. They got what they wanted. They got what they needed. And at the end of the day, they just outplayed Fnatic in game 2. So we find ourselves in game 3, the second ban phase now. We can see the bans. Fnatic really focusing a lot on spreading their bans out. I mean, some teams, when they go up against EG, will ban out just flat out RTZ heroes or what have you. But this time, they take out OD, obviously, for that reason, like it's strong. But getting rid of Universe's Darkseer, I think, is a right call. Universe is so ridiculously good at that hero that he is a game changer in and of himself. But then you can't just do that, though. You can't just focus down one pick for one particular player, or they'll do what EG just did, but just say, screw it. We'll run a Shadow Fiend and farm like hell, and then glass cannon our way to a W.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like, if anything, it's smarter to ban out these Universe heroes because while Arteezy is a fantastic mid, there are ways to shut him down, as we saw in game 1.
Right.
He was just so shut down, but Universe, to me, really seems like the one getting things going. And when you see bad situations for the rest of the team, EG, he seems to be the one on heroes like Darkseer or Timbersaw we've seen before, which is banned out, where he comes and brings the team back together. I mean, obviously, there's so many other players involved in helping that process, but Universe, to me, has just been so damn impressive on this current EG squad.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And you can't say enough about Mason either. Mason standing in for Fear, he has been
right.
Unless something changed, which I don't think it has. Like it's been about a week now, not even that long really, since the stat came out that of all professional players with at least 20 series under their belt, Mason is the winningest player in the last however many days or weeks. And, just the way they're gelling around him is pretty phenomenal. And, Fear's still recovering, still has his busted wing, but he is supposed to be getting back into action at some point. In fact, I think there's a good chance we might see Fear playing in our second series of the day. Don't quote me on that, but
oh wow, that'd be very interesting.
He did tweet that he would be playing with his squad again on Sunday, and given they have 2 series, but of course that all comes down to how he feels. So again, all you rare bettors.
Is it carpal tunnel? Is that what it is?
No, it's actually, if I'm not, it's something with his forearm. It's he's actually been in legitimate like physical therapy for it. It's been an ongoing issue, and I'm not going to speak to it because I don't know the particulars. But it's definitely his forearm, and it's definitely been hurting him going all the way back to South by Southwest and leading up, obviously, to the big tournament season here this spring with all that's going on with the ESL and the DreamHack and all and so on. They've just been resting him. So, but wishing him the best. Make sure you guys tweet at him. I'm sure he'd love to hear from you if you're a Fear fan. Let him know that you, whether he's in action today or not, you hope he feels better.
Yeah, I know how that can affect you too. I fractured my right forearm in high school, and even some stuff like moving your hand and trying to click can really freaking hurt.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that's the same thing, but obviously it's enough to keep him out. And yeah, hope he's feeling better because Mason's been playing pretty damn well. And not to say that Fear's not going to come back in and things are going to go well, but you want time to, practice with your regular 5, and I'm sure it's not going to be too big of an issue as they were performing well with Fear before he had to tap out for a temporarily.
Mm-hmm. Now, seeing EG and the way they've drafted this is actually very interesting to me. They've got the Tidehunter in the tree, obviously big team fight heroes with the Overgrowth and the Ravage. It's pretty easy to see what both sides are going for, except EG, I don't know where they're going to run that Tide. EG at South by Southwest and a couple of times otherwise have run it actually as a farmer. And
I think it's going to be off lane.
Yeah,
that's what my inclination is. I, by the way, really freaking love Mirana plus like heroes that have ways to stun targets for long duration, like Treant's Overgrowth or Tidehunter's ulti, things like that. I think it's very it sets up for such easy arrows. I really love it.
Something else that I really like about the way they've drafted this, Tidehunter's one of those heroes that just gets totally boned when BKB start to come out. But who on the side of Fnatic is a real true, a hero that likes to rush an early BKB? You just don't see
That's
it
a good point.
on Naga Siren or Tinker. One thing Fnatic is going to have at their disposal, though, is the ability to dodge big team fights. With the split push, it's going to come from the Tinker once he gets bots, and obviously Naga, who Fnatic does tend to run as a 1 position. So we'll see how they end up finishing off their draft. But usually you'll see Fnatic in the 1 position, running the Naga as a 1 position. So this is going to be EG looking for big team fights to make space for the Shadow Fiend, or even get him involved if he gets off to a great start, and imagining that's going to be Arteezy running that hero. So it's really going to come down to just who executes their lineup better, because both are really, really good at 2 very different things that actually do really well against each other.
Yeah, I would say on paper, Fnatic's lineup is a bit harder to execute properly. Tinker's obviously a very high skill cap hero, especially when you get into the late game. I mean, they have actually a lot of split pushing and kind of cheesy play between Tinker and Naga. I don't know if... Okay, I guess it is going to be a Naga mid. I know that No-Tail likes to run that as a 4, but it's not going to happen because they have Dazzle and Veno. Unless they run Veno mid. Who knows? I don't know. It's Fnatic. They do a lot of crazy wonky things. But Enigma is last picked here for EG. So yeah, that's probably going to be a Tidehunter off lane.
Yeah, I like the way I don't know though. Like I said, I've seen EG run the Tide as a farmer. They pick up an Undying. Now that's a lot of fun. Haven't seen an Undying. Let's see. It will be Hani on the Tink and No-Tail on the Undying. Yeah, they're going to run the 1 position Naga. That's what I was saying. They do that quite frequently. No, they're actually going to have Era on the Veno, though. I guess they could switch that up. So who the hell knows, man? It's
that's what I was saying. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, Trixie on the Naga. Either way, she's going to be looking for farm. Universe is going to be on the Tide, so you called that correctly. It looks like Mason will be farming the Mirana. Universe on the Tide with Arteezy going obviously mid with Shadow Fiend, and it'll be Zai on the Enigma farming out of the jungle as PPD back on the tree for the 3rd straight game. And to be honest, they don't ban tree. It wouldn't shock me at all if by the time today's done, we see tree in every game that PPD plays.
Yeah. I'm wondering how Fnatic is going to lay in this. Obviously, whenever you see an Undying, you think you're going to want to do something aggressive. And against a jungler, I think that might be the best bet. But EG are normally very smart about situations like this. When it seems on paper, oh, they want to aggro us because we have a jungler, that makes sense. Well, we're going to do this and go for a different play. EG's very good and heads up about that kind of thing. So expect some kind of different play, like maybe that means perhaps Zai in the offensive jungle for a little while, maybe netting a kill on like a solo safe lane that Fnatic would most likely run. Something like that, but I would expect EG to have a trick up their sleeve.
Fnatic smoking across the river and into the dire side jungle. Unfortunately for them, no one's going to be home, as EG did the exact same thing, getting down a couple of wards here already. Sentry there to block out Zcamp, and as well as the Vision ward there. And taking a look at Fnatic getting some wards down of their own, blocking out the hard camp and trying to slow down. Yeah, they're actually going to block this camp as well. So trying to slow down Enigma's jungle prowess. But, yeah, the way they end up laning it, they do have, like, as you said, a fair amount of offensive potential, and it looks like that's going to be the direction they goes. No-Tail and Era are both still up at top lane. Hani is pulling back. Nope, they're going to end up rotating Trixie all the way through. I thought Trixie might end up coming back to try to block the creeps at the tier 2, but instead heading all the way back with Hani setting up shop in mid and Trixie ready to set and farm. So it's going to be a 2-1-2.
Yeah, dual lanes. I think that's pretty smart because if you go aggro tri-lane with the heroes of Fnatic, they don't really have any hard stun, so trying to catch someone out might be difficult unless someone's really, like, it's got to be just basically Peter is really caught out, but even then, he's a tree, man. He's a freaking walking tank, and it'd be very difficult to kill him. So dual lanes right here, I think, are a bit smarter. And Zai, he is going to be aggressive jungle, but that's going to be spotted out here quickly by Fly and Trixie.
And I do want to point out, by the way, the reason I zoomed in on Fly in the the style cam or whatever the hell you call it is he has a 6 set right now. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if it's fully in the game yet. I think this might be a test set, but that's actually the Desolator made for Dazzle. And I can't remember who makes it. I want to say it's a Nuxie. But I remember seeing a post about it on Reddit and thought it was sick as hell, and I just happened to notice he was actually running it. So if that's actually in the game, then more power to him. If it's there, more power to anyone who wants to buy it. If it's not, then I'll put it this way: I'll be spending some cash on it whenever it's available.
Yeah, this matchup mid is going to be fun to watch for me. It's a relatively even matchup. This top lane, there might be some action. There's the leech seed coming out onto Era.
Real low, leap ahead. Oh, the arrow actually shot right in front of him. Doesn't matter as PPD gathers first blood once again. And yeah, this is what EG does. And Mason missing with the arrow, but nonetheless they secure the kill. And Tree is just a good hero, man. Like, people just forgot how good he was. Even after they nerfed living armor a little bit, he's still just damn good.
Yeah, the problem with that engagement for Fnatic was that you didn't have the Gale up onto Era, so when he sees a walking tree coming at him with Leech Seed, there's no way to stop him. If he you can't stop him, you can't slow him, and once it happens, you're just pretty much dead. There's no stunning up on Undying. He doesn't have his soul ripped. Why would he get it? So, yeah, I mean, PPD just knows the hero in and out, and he knows when he can get a kill. He knows the path that he has to walk to be able to get a kill.
Hani could be in trouble. He's going to be hitting for 180 damage. Look at that big right click as he stole the DD, and with the help of Arteezy, they secure another kill. There is nothing more terrifying at this stage of the game when you're pre-level 6 and you see a big old tree with glowing blue arms rumbling after you. He hits so hard and still has some time left on it. Still has about a quarter time. Looks like he's not going to try to do much else except make it back to lane. But another great start for EG. They lead 2-0.
I mean, I don't know what it is. We talked about Dendy this way, but it seems that PPD gets so lucky with these runes on tree. The first game we saw Haste rune level 1 on a tree. It's like one of the best runes you can get. DD for tree is quite good, as we saw him hitting for 200 damage. And yeah, and not, by the way, the bottom lane, it's not really an offensive jungle Enigma. It's just a straight up support laning Enigma.
Yeah, lane Enigma. I was actually going to ask you about that, but just to comment on PPD before we move on to that conversation. And what has to be one of the most cliche quotes of all time, but still applies equally to this situation, is luck is when preparation meets opportunity. In other words, luck is whenever you put yourself in a good situation to have good things happen. And that's what PPD regularly does. Same with Dindy. We even talked about that when we casted Na'Vi. It seems like he always has the right rune, and it's because the guy's always on top of it, knows, and is always really putting the time in to make sure that he's in position to get them when they do spawn. Exactly. Hang on, Universe. Caught with the ensnare. There's going to be a poison touch to follow. No dive. Probably the right call. But yeah, on the side of Enigma, do you think this is the right call? I mean, out of EG? Because obviously whenever you have a chance to jungle the Enigma, even though it was warded out, you can still really, really get some golden items up quickly. But when you run him like this as a duo lane with the Tide, he's just level 3. I mean, yes, Tide's level 3 now. Maybe he wouldn't be if he wasn't there. But do you think that's worth the trade-off?
Well, I mean, looking at Enigma's last hits right now, he's 4-9, so he's denied out a lot of farm. And as long as they're not able to get kills in this bottom lane, I think it's totally worth it. I think it's definitely accomplishing what they're setting out to do, and that's get levels, try to deny as much farm on Trixie as possible, and not die. And they've done all of that so far. So yeah, and I think you maybe just suspected that they would ward, but I don't know. I don't know if they placed this after the fact or if this ward that whoever placed from Fnatic just doesn't block the camp. But
yeah, it just doesn't block the camp because they placed that. Yeah. They placed that right at the beginning.
Okay.
Whenever they smoked into the jungle.
So that's. I mean, it doesn't matter because he's not there. But yeah. I mean, with that being said, maybe it would be better for Zai to just go in the jungle because Enigma is like one of the fastest. Well, no, it's got to be the fastest farming jungler
for sure
in the game. I mean, this hero can top 1 position farmers in the span of 10 minutes in the jungle. Oh my God, that was the longest range lead seed from PPD up top. It was like 500 range, I swear.
Didn't even see it actually.
Easy peasy kill onto Era.
Was watching No-Tail rotate into mid, so sorry I missed that. But yeah, well, what causes that, by the way? And hang on, we'll take a minute. There goes the tombstone. Hani's right there, but Arteezy just says, "The hell with it, man. Drop your tombstone. Your zombie house don't scare me." And he ends up just blowing him to pieces with nothing but right click and raises. But sometimes you end up seeing things like that leech seed, which again I didn't see, but I trust you if you say it was kind of ridiculously long. And you'll see that with Fiend's Grip sometimes, and it all comes down to if you start the animation, no matter, and the opponent's hero is in range, it finishes regardless of how much distance they close or how much distance they put between you. So you end up seeing these plays. It's like, how in the hell? But I would imagine that's what it was, just because leech seed does have a bit of a wind-up.
Yeah, Tinker trying to stack Ancients, but they're blocked, so they're not going to have it happen. Oh, that kill on a No-Tail was so ridiculous because No-Tail was sitting behind the trees in the tier... Oh, action, bottom, maybe no, okay. He was sitting behind these trees...
And sounds like our friend's internet dropped once again, so hopefully he'll be back in just a minute. And that South Korean internet, unfortunately, as world-renowned as it is, still faces problems of its own. But it's 4-0, and EG in solid control of this game. Very quick Midas coming out for Arteezy. Arteezy, basically that Midas came out at 6 minutes. So he has bottle, boots, and Midas at 6 minutes in. Arteezy is not a player that you ever want to put in that position. He will punish you for it. So, especially when you talk about how slow a Naga Siren tends to be and how she farms. I mean, she can give you a lot. She'll just sit on a lane and farm, and if you happen to get out of position, she'll use Mirror Image and start to push a lane.
All right.
Yep, welcome back.
Yep, damn internet, but... hopefully nothing's happening.
No, it's been farming and me jawing about how ridiculously far ahead Arteezy happens to be. 6 minutes in, he has bottle boots and a Midas, man. Like, he had that at 6 minutes.
Yeah. No, what I was saying about No-Tail is that he was being attacked by a ranged creep from Dire, just sitting there attacking him. And he was just sitting there like, oh, they won't spot me, and then Arteezy just walks up, kills him. It's the most ridiculous thing I've seen in a while, but yeah.
And there's a Malefice tree armor being used to help Zai out. And it looks like they want to try to overwhelm him. Zombie House is down. They're going to force him back behind the tier 1. But, I mean, pushing here even with the power of Shadow Wave is going to be difficult. Universe will be ensnared. Let's see. Yep, they're going to dive it. Let's see if there's a reaction. They're going to pop Moonlight's Shadow, and that'll be more than enough to make them safe. And, that's something we didn't even touch on is, running lanes like this, usually Tide Hunter pretty easy to dive in this situation. Even the same with Shadow Fiend. But whenever you have Mirana just say, nope, reset, it really makes it tough to get aggressive with these heroes the way you normally would like to.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't know, this is going to be really hard because these dual lanes, it's kind of, Era's in a pickle. Yeah, he's playing that little thing, I don't know what it's called in baseball, where you're running back and forth between the bases. This does not look good for him. Leech seed coming out, Overgrowth ready just in case, but don't even need it.
And PPD, once again, is showing his... hang on. Trixie eating a lot of damage down here. Universe not yet level 6. If he had Ravage, they could have gotten a kill. He's about half a level short of it, though. Zai, same thing. Now, these two are going to be very dangerous once they both hit level 6, even by themselves. Going to be tough to stand up to them just because of the power of Ravage and Black Hole. But for now, Fnatic able to keep their heroes alive. But it's 5-0. No towers down at just short of 9 minutes. And we're already talking a nigh on 4,000 gold lead for EG. And my big concern is how slow Naga Siren is in her farming. Like, she could be a beast, especially if she ends up going with a Radiance build to just farm everywhere at once. But it does take time for her to really come in on her own, even when she is in a one position. And I think EG is off to such a good start. They're just going to be able to put the screws to her before long.
Yeah, I mean, look at her last hits right now, 9 minutes in as a one position. It's 39.
Yep.
And then you also look at the Fly's in a little bit of trouble. Can he get the Grave off at least? No, we can't even get that. The Malphite stuns were too much.
Here comes No-Tail, shows his face. Zai's right there. Just look at the damage coming out from the Eidolons. Down goes the Tombstone, and No-Tail actually being body blocked by Zai. Zai caught from Trixie, or by Trixie from behind. Has Black Hole if he wants to spend it. Let's see. Nope, he doesn't have the mana now. Does have a Soul Ring. Will he use it? Nope, he's going to end up being bursted down. And the rest of Fnatic collapsing in. Finally, they find their way onto the board. Universe has Ravage, but not enough mana. Does make it away by the skin of his teeth. PPD in the meantime.
Hani didn't attack right there. I don't know why. He was like waiting to use a spell that was not on cooldown. that was on cooldown. That was very strange. Or I didn't see the animation and I'm hallucinating. But that was very strange. Zai was. It looked like he could have got a good black hole, but he was very patient. He knew that the Naga net was there, ready to go, so he saved it for another time. Smart play by him. In the meantime, this is what happens when you have engagements like that against a good mid hero that can push towers. Oh, he might be in some trouble. Can the Gale hit? Doesn't matter. There's no stuns in range anyway. And Arteezy, yeah, like I was saying, a good hero in mid that can push towers when space is created, like Shadow Fiend, like Death Prophet, and Arteezy knows his role, does his thing.
PPD uses the overgrowth at bottom. That'll prompt the song EP. Universe has Ravage, but not going to be able to catch him. As he does have tier 2 boots, and Naga only had tier 1. Doesn't matter. Not even going to try. Nice attempt, though, coming out from EG. But yeah, that exchange in the jungle cost them a lot. They ended up losing 2 towers out of it as Mason Split pushed the top tier 1, and we saw mid tier 1 drop to Arteezy for free. And Arteezy is huge. He's 94 CS. 94 CS. Let me say it again. 94 CS at 11 minutes. The goal is getting close to 10 Gs already. Already, we're getting close to that.
I've seen better from him. This is like child's play. Shout out to, anyway, bottom lane, it looks like a push coming out. It was a full HP tower, but if Arteezy decides to come down there, he's got 140 damage to work with. They're pinging out Fly. They know he's there. Oh, he's in a precarious position. Lots of TPs coming out here, though.
This is their chance to turn around. It's so tough to do this, though, into Universe. You know you have a Ravage. Even if you do manage to catch someone out, they can spin that. And EG using Mirana's ultimate to cover their tracks. Oh, and now look at Fnatic. Fnatic knows, like, oh, hell. They are tucked up under the tower. They're just going to go for it. Universe going to run in. There's the Ravage. Era's going to end up dropping. Did get off Weave. The Weave went off from Fly, rather. Here comes another TPN. No-Tail still up. Drop the Tombstone, so EG might want to retreat. TP from Trixie is there. Now they're going to end up trying to turn this around. Ultimate from Arteezy does decent damage. He's close to getting a double kill if he lands one more raise, but he's slowed down. The zombie's right on his tail. This is a nice turnaround for Fnatic. He does end up getting one more and trying to get away. All the Eidolons helping to chase it away, and Arteezy makes it away. He just about could have been killed by those 2 miniature ghosts right in that camp, so tucked himself away just in time. And EG loses a couple, but continuing to just keep the pressure up. And this is what I was talking about when I said put the screws to Trixie and just not let him fall into a groove on this Naga Siren. That wasn't the best trade in the world, but it doesn't matter. The gold graph, even if ever so slightly, is still continuing to move in their direction, as is the experience graph. And this is just looking very, very precarious for Fnatic right now.
Yeah, it actually always makes me cringe when I see these kind of plays come out from players where, like, you see this like do-si-doing going around, like, oh, he's gonna go attack me, I'm running away, and then you have the intention to go back on them the second they turn away from you, which is what happened right there. Shadow Fiend, he was like kind of going back and forth, and then when he ran away, No-Tail was like, he was like 50 HP, he was like, oh, he's running away now I can make a play on him. But he clearly just didn't respect the cooldowns there for Arteezy, and it was just a very, very silly death from No-Tail. And I've seen this happen quite a few times, and it's just something that just completely 100% does not need to happen. And it's actually kind of a big deal because you have another kill up on the Shadow Fiend, and that just means more gold coming this way on a snowball type hero. I mean, does he have BKB? I mean, he's pretty close.
Yeah, I think it's on the way, or it may be. He's got the recipe up. He doesn't have much gold, so I could have swore he had enough to just about have it. But either way, he's at the absolute outside, 1,300 gold away. And to put it this way, I mean, take a look at the net worth, man. Tinker has bots and blink up, and he still still just about 3,000 gold ahead of him in overall net worth. At this point, for 14 minutes in, Arteezy's farm is so big it has smaller farms in orbit around it.
Yeah. It is pretty crazy. I haven't even looked at the graph. Maybe you have, and oh my god.
Yeah.
That is insurmountable at 14 minutes. It is pretty crazy.
And
Net worth chart, I'm pulling that up. Yeah, Arteezy's got nearly 10K. So it's looking very, very, very solid here for EG. I mean, it's not over just yet. You have some very, late game oriented split pushing type of heroes on Fnatic with the bots up on Tinker, Blink, and Naga, but Naga's just got nothing right now.
Here we go. They're going to engage on a Universe PPD. Universe has Ravage if he wants to spend it. There's the overgrowth from PPD. He's going to TP away in their face. Universe going to be cleaned up. If he actually Ravaged there before he TP'd, they might have been able to make it away, but instead opting to keep his cooldown available. And really, no reason, I don't blame him. I mean, the rest of the team is doing so well. I mean, as a Tidehunter, you're already in great shape, and you've got so much help to help you with getting your Ravage off. He's going to have a Blink Dagger up in about 500 gold anyway, even after that death. Zai did go ahead and get the mech up, so that takes some pressure off of the rest of the team in terms of trying to get it up, and that's usually what you'll see out of Enigmas in this kind of a lineup. It's just so easy for them to fall into the jungle and find that gold as quickly as they can. And you have Mason with his ultimate. That helps everyone in terms of landing these big ultimates. So I feel like this is just a genius draft out of EG. And the arrow just a little bit south. Arteezy, oh, jeez. Hits Fly for about 1/5 of his total health with one right click.
Yeah, I really like the draft of EG. And like I mentioned, the bottom, like you mentioned, the ultimate's going to come into play. We already saw it come into play early on when they were trying to dive a tier 1 tower. So, I mean, it seems to be a lot of global help from EG, specifically like the bottom and the living armor. They've been on, like, PPD's been on top of his living armor in every match I've seen him play this hero. And it's not just like a little thing to help them out in lane so that they can get some regen. It's like saving them and turning the tide. So.
Speaking of tide, that Blink Dagger done in 50 gold while the rest of his team takes Roshan. And this is going to be for free. All right, let's talk desperation. Fnatic is up against it. Fnatic is running out of time in every sense of the phrase. What do you do, man? You're in the captain's chair. How do you get things back on track before they spiral 100% out of control, even if they are about 95% out of control already?
I mean, at this point, desperation, I feel like you're going to have to go for like 1 or 2 man sleeps and just burst, like use everything on 1 or 2 heroes. At this point, it's got like almost just 1 hero. Sleep 1 hero, use everything on, back off, and maybe use it for the next, or wait for the next cooldown. I mean, that's about as desperation as you can get.
Want to point out that Arteezy, at 16, almost 17 minutes in, is rolling at 680 GPM. That's end of game farming the fountain GPM. That's usually what you see. That's what he's rolling at and has been at for some time now. He's level 15. He's 3 levels higher than Boots of Travel Blink Tinker, and could be getting worse as EG goes under cover of Moonlight Shadow. Flies there in mid, has a couple of teammates there with him, but the unfortunate recipient of all the attention going to be Trixie. See you later, brother. He's back in the well for 34 seconds. Up at top, we actually see Hani engaged on by Arteezy. Gets off the ult. And this, I don't even know what to say. Arteezy is huge. Everyone is huge. BKB still at 10 seconds if and when they want to hook up as 5. But they're just going to be able to clear towers. Era, that's a 2-man Ravage. Weave is there, but what's it going to help, really? PPD, nope, not going to chase. The Ravage secured 1 kill. Arteezy going to have his Aegis popped. Plenty happy to just reset with a full health bar. Zai still has Black Hole available and may go for it here. There's the Malefice, and not even going to need it. Arrow shot off, but Zai's right there. Uses the mech. Everyone's back in fighting shape. And we can see they're doing this between the tier 2 and tier 3 at 18 minutes in and not feeling scared even a little.
It's getting in GG territory, no doubt about it. Ani's trying to do as much split push as he can, but if EG can just back out. Maybe wait. They can also just go back to farming. Yeah, they are.
Just about 12,000 gold. Their lead now, and I don't know, man. Like this is the when you really break it down. Think about what they did here. As the draft took place, and we'll watch Fnatic. They may go on the offensive. Looks like they're just sticking as a group now, just for pure necessity's sake, really. But what's the one hero that really screws with Naga Sleep? Tidehunter. Because all you got to do is just spam R as soon as Naga Sleep's on, and you counter it. Who works well with Tide? How about more AoE? Oh, God, no tail. caught once again. He has the Maelstrom up, so his damage is good. There is going to be a nice grave to keep him alive. They actually threw the weave out just in case, too. But then you talk about the Tinker pick. You see Tinker, you assume mid. Who really does well against Tinker? How about a Shadow Fiend? Who could just farm right in his face. I feel like this was a masterful draft. And PPD in his role as captain is just really showing his chops and has been for a while now.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think that EG's draft was very good, but I feel like a lot of Game 2 and Game 3 honestly came down to silly, like, Game 2 I think came down to silly plays from Fnatic. Like, I have no idea why they decided to lane the Venom mid for so long. And then this game, I don't understand the dual lanes, and they didn't really get anything out of it. Especially when your offensive dual lane, I think, is the most fragile, because if you lose that one, there's really nowhere else to rotate the one position Veno, which is basically what Arrow was playing. I guess it was kind of a 2 next to Trixie's Naga, but she isn't getting anything either. I mean, look at Arrow's farm. This is their hard carry player, and I know he's playing a Venomancer, but he doesn't even have mech yet.
Yep. And right now, all they can really do is what they're doing. Stick together, hope that somehow by a miracle you catch some big team fight wins. Arteezy finds himself a haste rune. 4,200 gold for Arteezy with minus BKB and Helm of the Dominator already completed. He basically could own a Satanic right now. We're talking 20-minute minus BKB Satanic if he wanted to go that direction. I think he may just end up going pure right-click and say the hell with it.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the whole shop at his disposal, man. He can do whatever he wants at this point, and it won't be incorrect. He can go for, I've seen him do Necro Book before. It would actually be really good because of AoE, like No Tail would kill himself, or No Tail would kill himself, Veno would kill himself. I wouldn't put it past him, I'm just saying.
Going back into the jungle, rest of his team's down in the Radiant side jungle. Fnatic, again, has to run in packs of 3 for the most part. It will be a Radiance build on Trixie. And what else are you going to do, I guess? It's very slow for the most part coming out. Doesn't even have tier 2 boots. Has Bassi boots, a poor man's shield, and the relic up. But this is EG's game to win or to lose. And, you know, not to take anything away from Fnatic, they are one of the best teams in the West in terms of playing from behind and just being able to stick together in terms of cohesion and not giving up when they still have a chance. But, I mean, the Undying has not really paid off at all. Fly's had a few good graves here and there, but for the most part, the Dazzle pick hasn't shown any strength at all. It feels like most of Fnatic's lineup has just been made irrelevant by good decisions and good drafting from EG.
Yeah. 3-man TP bottom for a bottom that they're not going to kill. Just time wasted. It's just sloppy thing. I mean, okay, it's very easy to criticize play when you're down 15k, so I'm not going to do that. That's just rude of me. But it is, you know, you're seeing how out of sorts they are right now, and just very little option. You know, they have very little options at this point. And you mentioned the Undying, yeah, completely useless, by the way. Like this, and it's not so much No Tail, although he did make some, you know, pretty poor play there when Arteezy got a counter kill on him for no reason. But this hero himself has done nothing. And I mentioned at the beginning, when you pick this, normally you want to just run at them very aggressively, particularly with an aggro tri-lane. Oh. Bottom lane Era. Jeez.
Era blown to pieces. We're going to have one TP in. Mason eating some tower damage. It's going to be Hani who shows his face. And is working on a Scythe of Ice, one would imagine. Has the ultimate orb up. Already has his blink up. Arteezy's going to run right into No Tail here. They should have spotted each other. Immediate ping out. And Arteezy actually just said, no, I'll just one-shot by an Assault Curus. It's fine. At 22 minutes in, my God. That
is insane.
Yeah, no, I don't... Yeah. He's at 16k net worth, man. 16k, and now he may end up giving up at death. He's just going to sell out on the tower. Little greedy there, Artur, and pops a BKB. Now going to ulti with the... Look at this! Just look at him clean up! That was all of Fnatic. Like everyone from Fnatic. Almost everyone, rather. 4 heroes showed up. Couldn't touch him. Could not do a damn thing to him.
Funny part is he showed some style there because he BKB TP'd out and he's like, fuck this, going big.
Yep.
And he just turned him around.
Fly, TPing away. There's the overgrowth. Spent wisely, I would say. And kill secured, Zai. Kill secured. Universe actually pinged him. And now Era's cleaned up out of mid.
This is over.
Yeah, GG's going to come out soon. Naga Radiance is up at 24 minutes, but this game ended Lot sooner than 24 minutes for the most part. And they're sieging from the low ground. PPD right out front. Another excellent draft from him. And EG just continues to look phenomenal as they bring down this set of racks. Now, okay, this could maybe have a chance. Hani's there, throws out the March of the Machines. We got 4 grouped together. We've caught everyone. Let's see if they can capitalize. Nope. PPD may end up dead. No, he just TP's away right in their face. And the rest of EG sneaking away into the night, or I guess it's actually dawn, so sneaking away into the dawn. Arteezy, almost killed Fly with two right clicks and 1 raise. And they're just going to reset. I mean, they got some damage done.
Fly. He gets hit by an arrow, and then Universe just blinks in and uses his nuke right there to get a kill. Where was the net or poison on the PPD? He literally TP'd the second after sleep happened. So I don't think it was like net was cast on anyone else. That was very, very funny. They have 2 sentry wards to see him. I know they popped the Mirana ult, so yeah, I think Fnatic is just kind of out of sorts at this point. And
yep.
And you mentioned EG's great draft, and again I agree, but I feel like a lot of it too is Fnatic did nothing with their dueling. It's like I've heard this before from other people, and they've criticized Fnatic for trying to be too different, like trying to be the hipster of Dota basically, and just doing things that are very clever and unique, but all the time, there's a reason why standard stuff works most of the time.
Right.
And that's not to say don't have creativity, but I think that when you're doing these dual lanes, especially the top one, the Veno Undying, that's an aggressive lane, and you gave up first blood in that because you didn't have vision, and that just you can't have that happen.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is. I mean, it is worth mentioning, by the way. These racks are still standing, so it's not as if the game is completely over, though, by pretty much any other metric except buildings. That would seem to be the correct conclusion. So I laid down the mechanism just for fun. Not sure what he was doing there. He had an empty slot, so juggling some items nonetheless. But yeah, I think Arteezy just finished yeah, he did. He just finished a Satanic. It's 26 minutes into this game, and it looks like it's 46. Like, literally. He's got a BKB, a Midas, a Satanic, and an Assault Cuirass and Treads. This is redonkulous. He's almost doubling his own teammate, who is second in terms of net worth. He's at 20 G's net worth at 26 minutes in. Ridiculous. Oh, no, he actually got a heart.
There you go. Heart AC. He loves
heart
you.
Heart you, too. I was going to say heart you, too, brother. Less than 3. Yeah. So he finishes the heart. I thought he was going to get Satanic for sure. Mason gets a kill elsewhere. But, yeah, there's the Moonlight Shadow. And would imagine this is the beginning of the end, or the end of the end, as the case may be.
Fnatic really loves to play out to the very end, it seems.
They do, man. Well,
because I don't know what they have in store to come back. Tinker just died. Oh, he's buying back. This is probably their last hurrah.
Yep.
And with that buyback, Tinker saying he's not gonna have sheep. He will not get it this game. They just gotta go for the Hail Mary here, I guess.
Yeah, I've seen Fnatic make some phenomenal comebacks. This would seem to be rather insurmountable, but they will last it out, man. And nothing but respect for them. And they looked so good in game 1. It just I don't feel like it's even that they played necessarily badly so much as EG just played so damn good in game 2 and 3. And the drafts again, just to beat a horse that, if not yet dead, is in mortal danger of its life. Just solid across the board. And EG's even playing patient. And this is one of those things that older EG squads, older iterations of the EG squad going all the way back to the last international maybe didn't do so well, which is have a lead, know the game can be ended soon, and then they would just YOLO it and perhaps give it the old toss-a-roo. But not anymore. You see EG more often than not play patient now.
They do. They're backing up to go farm. And it suits it also suits Arteezy's playstyle very well. I know a long time ago when he was first getting onto the scene, he was criticized for, you can only play mid. Once you get out of the laning phase, you don't know what to do. But if there's anything I've learned about this player, Arteezy, is that's completely untrue.
Totally.
If anything, it's more so that he knows how to play in the late game, which is very scary for a mid player of his caliber.
Well, I mean, it's just the way he tends to play, too. I mean, he does. You have ganker-oriented mids, and then you have Arteezy-like mids. And Arteezy is just, he loves to farm, man. And he basically plays a one position out of mid. That's how he is. Not to say he won't rotate, he won't gank, but he's a farm first kind of a guy. If you NFL football or anything like that, you have run first quarterbacks and throw first quarterbacks. And Arteezy is the equivalent of a run first quarterback. Just take what's in front of you. Take the farm, man, and look to grind out the game in the late game. But still amazing in the plays he makes nonetheless. And this should just about be that. We can see they're sieging bottom with the pipe to help them out. Arteezy just casually walking up to top. No tier 3 there. Pecking away at this melee racks. Mason's there, has his ultimate on the ready when he is ready. And Arrow will miss. Has a Blade Mail up. Has a Mjolnir up. And I think this will just about do it for us. Oh, sleep. Trixie, gonna try to turn it around. This is the last chance. Let's see what they can do.
Press R, EG. See what happens.
Here we go. BKB. Arteezy just teeing off and not even too worried about it. We can see, yeah, they just hung back, like you said. Hit the old R key. Hit the BKB key. A just popped away and taken off of Mason. And Universe going to land a Ravage, catches a couple. Era fly down. GG's almost certainly on the way as the Overgrowth gets no tail behind the fight. And Zai with the celebratory, and Universe giving us the old chicken wing celebration dance on the Tidehunter. And it looks like PGG. Who drew that? That was
Peter.
Yeah, that was Peter. All right, so 22-5. GG's come out in a 30-minute rout as EG in the front end of their doubleheader here today on the D2L Western Challenge gets yet another win. Fnatic's debut in the D2L WC gives them a loss. And tell you what, man, what can you say? 7-0-7, 8-8-3 Arteezy's final GPM.
Yeah, he obviously played fantastic. The rest of his team backed him up quite nicely. And you know, if you told someone this series went the distance and went 3 games, you wouldn't think that EG would it was still so one-sided in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Especially this game. This was just a stomp. It was 30 minutes, but it really was like over at like 15. Which is sad because game 1 Fnatic looked so damn good. They really did. And I don't think it has so much to do with play and even I don't even think it has so much to do with draft as much as lanes. I think their drafts were actually not too bad. I think their lane assignments were questionable though. Like we can talk about like beating a dead horse, but the dual lane top just did nothing. And when you fed First Blood with an Undying Venomancer lane, you're asking for trouble for the rest of the game. They needed to have switches happen in the laning phase because they didn't get anything done. So EG obviously looked fantastic, and again, I loved their draft. I loved the Enigma plus Tide in the off lane. It actually worked out quite nicely. And yeah, obviously a very solid performance from Arteezy. Again, PPD almost hit 3-1-7, by the way.
Almost again.
Would have been the hat trick.
It's a shame if Zai had hit that black hole on a hero. Perhaps we would have had the hat trick on the box score. But I think they'll take it anyway as another 30-minute game. And all 3 games went about the same time, right around 30 minutes. Fnatic, again, they looked real good in game 1, but I think EG just woke up in game 2 and steamrolled from there. They actually Fnatic had 2 supports that were still in single-digit levels in the 30-minute game, by the way, and a collective 0-10 on Dazzle and Undying, played by Fly and No Tail. So, again, though, it's easy as casters or even as viewers to fall into the idea. It's like, well, they got beat, they're playing terrible. They made mistakes, that's fine. But I honestly, to goodness, think EG, it was more EG playing well than Fnatic failing to do so. Either way, first series is done. EG improves their record. Fnatic gets a slash in the loss column. We've got our second series coming up soon, though. I am your host here in AC Chambers. EG is going to be looking to make it 2 in a row in our second series of the day as they meet Team Liquid here in just a few minutes. I'm going to imagine probably 10 to 15 minutes from now. I don't have the clock handy, actually, but yep, about 10 to 15 minutes from now, it'll be myself and Trouf, of course, back for that. And go ahead and take yourself a break. Don't know if there's anything else streaming right now, but if you want to spend 10 minutes watching them, I forgive you. It's okay. We'll be back again. EG versus Team Liquid, our second best of 3 of the day here on the D2L Western Challenge. In the meantime, you can also follow myself and Trouf on Dota. I'm at AC. He's at Trouf Dota. And, of course, check out the D2L on Facebook and Twitter as well. It's a D2L GG on Twitter. And I think it's the same thing on Facebook, if I'm not mistaken. So either way, see you back in 10, guys. Take it easy.